Hello, my name is DeCreek in War Thunder. I'm here to revise this old suggestion that was made prior to the introduction of the shot camera and the kill camera. I actually was quite unfortunate. I made this suggestion literally just days before they introduced the shot camera, I think. And once the shot camera came in, I kind of left this at the side because I felt that the kill camera, shot camera went completely against what I was making suggestion wise. And I thought I'd give a bit of time to try out the kill camera, try out the shot camera, and get an idea of how it can work in relation to what I am suggesting. If they were completely counter to each other, there was no point making suggestion because clearly Gaijin worked so hard on the kill camera, they weren't going to back down on that. So I'm just here to make a suggestion to revise this original one, to basically amend it to include the shot camera and the kill camera. You will see some footage from a game in my Tiger 2 and a custom game being a visual audio guide to my suggestions. So the basic suggestion I am making is that there is too much information in War Thunder when it comes to engagements of tanks. That players know too much about the damage they are doing, and as such it is dictating all the engagements. It is that information alone that is dictating every attack and every movement of decision a player makes. And you can see an example of this here in this custom game I've set up, where I have a friend of mine filling in the role of the enemy. It's not an actual proper engagement, but it's just an example. I'm in the new M8A1, I'm in Poland, and I'm coming up to a street. It's confined, it's open, very little cover, very little maneuverability. I come around the corner and there is a tiger at the end of the street, and I immediately aim and shoot before he shoots at me, and I hit his barrel. Now imagine that barrel was black or red instead of yellow. Just imagine that I hit that and I knocked out his barrel, and my next decision is to line myself up and start moving in, because I know that he cannot return fire. He cannot fight me. The only thing he can do is fire his machine gun at me. So I start closing distance. I test to see if I can pen from the front at a closer distance. I can't, so I start moving around to the side. And that's the thing, I can do all this because I know I've done that turret. There is no visual indicating that I've damaged that barrel. I just know because the game has told me. Just in case he's fixed a barrel, I then put another shot into his turret ring. And again, I only know I've done that damage because the game has told me. There is no visual indicator that I've jammed his turret beyond the fact that you can see he's not moving his turret anymore. And that's the problem. There is too much information in War Thunder at the moment. I am knowing things I shouldn't know. I know now that I'm going to disable his engine without any proper confirmation. I don't even actually disable his engine. That's the interesting thing. I did not take his engine out, and I could have made this assumption mistake, assuming that his engine is now black and he can't move, but he could. And that's the problem, War Thunder. I know all the stuff that I should not know, and my suggestion is that information needs to be toned down across realistic battle and simulator battle. So this is just a mess around, and I'll come back to this, to what's on screen in a moment, but I'm just going to explain in further detail. I think in realistic battle we should keep the hit camera as it is, and you see the hitting and you see where it is, and we should keep the kill cameras, but we should get rid of that. Whenever I do a hit camera like this where it hits the thing, it should go to show my bullet going through the tank, confirming that I penetrated, but it shouldn't show what I hit on the interior. It shouldn't show if the shell fractured, or it shouldn't show if the shell ricocheted. It should just say you penetrated at this point in the tank and gone straight through. That way the player knows he's penetrated. So for example here, I know when I fire, I know I did not penetrate. So we should know we did not penetrate, or we did penetrate, but you shouldn't know anything beyond that. I should not know if I'd broken any modules. I should not know if I'd killed a crew member. That is stuff I should know based on experience. I should learn the interior of tanks. I should be learning where placements of tank based on when I see a shell hit, that where I hit, that the chances are I've done X, Y, Z damage to the tank. That if I put a shot into the side of this Panther, into its turret, I should know that the chances are I've hit the gun breech and I've hit the gunner and the loader, and that I should be able to make a judgment, risk and reward, based on how that shot went and if I'd actually done the damage I believe I've done. In arcade, I think the kill camera and the hit camera should stay the way they are. I think it's a great grounds for learning. Here we go, shot on the side of the Panther. See, I learned too much information there. And I think in arcade you should have that information, but I don't think you should have it in realistic. I also think in simulator you shouldn't even have the hit camera. I think by the time you get to simulator, you should know the tanks. You should be able to learn the tanks and know where you're hitting them and where to hit them and what's important to hit them. There should be a learning process between the three modes of War Thunder, and I think definitely for simulator we should not have a hit camera. You should still have a kill camera. The kill camera is a reward. It's meant to satisfy the player, thinking they've shown they've done a good job, and everyone should enjoy that, and the kill camera is great for that. It's also great for when you get killed yourself in reverse. You should have these moments of rewarding yourself, and that is great, but it needs to be toned down the amount of information we are getting. The amount of information, it's unrealistic, first of all, because with the exception of tracking and causing them to blow up their gun barrel, you should not be able to visually see anything. You should be able to see they're on fire. You should be able to see them being tracked, and you should be able to see them having an exploded gun barrel that's warped out of shape. Everything else, you need to be able to make a judgment call. It should not be an issue of being told what you've done. You should have to make a judgment call based on where you hit and how the tank is suddenly acting. If a tank starts backing up after you hit its turret, you can make the judgment that yes, I've probably either killed his gunner or jammed or broken the gun breach. It should not be a thing where you've been told you've done this, now take advantage of it. It's causing players to be far too aggressive. It is giving far too much strength to medium and lighter tanks that can shoot faster and use APCR to hit key areas, confirm they've hit key areas, and push the advantage. It is partly the appeal of anti-aircraft vehicles like the Zu-57, because they know when they're open to just lay into an enemy tank. You will see this later. Zu knows he can just fire into me because he knows he's crippled me, and that's the problem. There should be some way of not having this information, that you should not be able to take this advantage. It's dictating too much of the game at the moment. It is dictating every engagement. It is the focus of every battle. Paying attention to that list, knowing that you've hit that key point that cripples the enemy tank. It is the weakness that has exposed heavy tanks in the game. Remove it, and it causes a very different play style. It will actually cause players in medium tanks and in light tanks to pay attention more to the shots and the layout of tanks, but also to be more cautious about their engagements, to actually back off after firing shots. Far too often you're seeing someone shoot, confirm they've done something, and then just sit there and take the next shot. If the game is not confirming these things for you, you create the opportunity that the player, regardless of what they've done, they will still have to back off because they've no confirmation. It brings in more of an element of risk to every action, and risk is good because risk is also chance, and chance, it creates better experience, better battles. It means you get an example here now. I'm going to run into a T-34 in a moment, and I don't move because I don't need to move. This T-34, he doesn't see me initially. I get first shot, and my first shot cripples him, and I don't need to move because I know I've crippled him, and I just need to reload and put the second shot in to kill him. So here I come, just up to this corner, and I look around, and he's there on my left, and I didn't actually see him initially. I see him now in a second. There he is. I turn, he's not looking at me. I put a shot in to where his gun crew is. Boom, I have took his gunner out. I know I can wait and take another shot. I don't have to make any panic or anything, even though he's already turned to face me. Put my next shot in. This is the problem. There is way too much information. It is dictating all the fights, and it shouldn't. If the information is toned down, what you will see is a shift in the meta, where tanks will be much more aware of their movement, where there'll be a lot much more focus on shoot and move, where it's a lot less about that at the moment. At the moment, it's much more about getting into a good position, taking your shot. If you deliver a crippling blow that is confirmed, do another shot and keep doing that shot until the enemy is dead. If you don't do the crippling blow, that's the only time you don't move, and that's the problem. You're relying on that information, and it's what's making heavy tanks weak, because heavy tanks, they're not as maneuverable. They rely on their size and their heavy armor and their very strong guns, And when you have this scenario where a weaker tank can confirm, not weaker, medium tank can confirm that they have actually crippled that heavy tank, there's nothing the heavy tank can do. It becomes an element of bloodlust. The medium just comes in and finishes the kill, and it shouldn't be like that. What you need is much more focus on a medium tank delivering a blow, and then it's a risk-reward element. The medium tank has to go, I think, based on where I hit him, that it definitely penetrated, and by what it's doing right now, that I've delivered a crippling blow, and I'm going to move in and finish him off. But the key word there is I think. And it could turn out that you were wrong, that you maybe disabled the gunner, but didn't hit the gun breach. And your window is only 7-8 seconds while that gunner is replaced by the loader. You've done damage, but in 7-8 seconds that tank is going to be back in service. Or you could have done all the damage you think, but you weigh it up and you don't think you've done it. You don't think based on how the tiger is moving or how your shot went that you didn't deliver a crippling blow, but you might have actually done. You might have actually taken out a gun breach of a tiger without a repair kit, and now that tiger is useless in the game in a practical sense, but in a meta sense it is still effective, because no one's going to realize that tiger has its gun out, and that tiger can still be used as a sort of blockage for certain areas. Like historically, there was a scenario where a tiger, I can't remember now, forget that, but that's the thing, it's opening up much more variety in how the vehicles are used. And in this game here, you see it coming up here in a second, how things should play out is like this engagement with a pattern. I come around, I see a pattern, and a pattern sees me, and we go to engage each other. So there we are, we see each other, and we both fire. I miss, and he hits me, but he does no damage. And what did he do? He immediately moves on. He did no damage, he moves on. Okay, and I did no damage, I move on. That's how all engagements should be like. There should be much more emphasis on movement, especially with medium tanks. Medium tanks should be moving more, and at the moment they're not. They're fast, but they're going out there to delivering a crippling blow, and then they're just repeating it in and in. And you see it again here in a second, where I take another shot, and I know the game tells me I didn't do a serious damage roll, and I move on. But if you remove that knowledge, things might have gone different. I shoot right where the pattern's ammo rack is. Okay, if that actually had penetrated, I would have killed. But I don't know if I penetrated or not, and I could have stayed there and took another shot, which put myself at risk. But it's that risk-reward system, and that's what I make a suggestion. The suggestion is as follows: arcade changed nothing. Arcade is where you learn. Arcade is where you got the little cross to tell you where you can penetrate, and it confirms what modules you're hitting when you penetrate there. Realistic, you should know about the interior tanks, but the hit cams there is just to show you how your hit shots are hitting, so you can focus more on your long range gun range. You move up in the ranks, you can focus more on tactics. And in simulator, you should not have the hit cam altogether. The kill cam, it should stay at its satisfaction for the player, but really we need to tone this information down. It is dictating everything about War Thunder tanks at the moment. It is the most powerful tool that everyone has, and it is somewhat strangling the gameplay. Thank you for listening to my review. Please respond. I am going to keep this in my signature to encourage more people to come here, and I wait to hear a response from Gaijin hopefully about this situation. Thank you very much.